Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Barrett channel for a brand new video. Now, last year, 2020, on the 4th of February, very memorable time. It was about 2 weeks after the world news of COVID broke out, and it was first, sort of detected in China, and it had spread to the city that I live in, Shenzhen, by that time. Anyway, I decided to go out and document it, and at the time I lived about an hour away from the center of the city, so I took the metro into the center to some of the busiest places in this city of 13 million people to give you a real on-the-ground look of what China and Shenzhen was like at that time. Today I'm going to be walking you around some of the busiest places in Shenzhen to give you sort of a feel of the atmosphere and to sort of dispel some of the rumors that are going on. Where are we now? We're back in that same place that we started that last video. I will put a link up at the top of the screen here. It'd be good if you check that one out first and then come back to this one so that you can kind of compare the differences, because times have changed a lot since then. At that time I was looking around Huaqiangbei and there were just no people at all. Just a couple of people I was walking by. Everybody was taking the government's advice and staying inside because people were very concerned at that time about their safety and well-being. There were only very, very few shops open, just the ones that were probably trying to stay on their feet because the rent in this area is extremely expensive. Now, 14 months on, it's crazy to even think that that much time has passed. I mean, it's gone really fast, but at the same time it feels like it was a lifetime ago that sort of coronavirus broke out. Me and my dad have talked about this before, but we feel extremely fortunate to be living in China during this time, because there are not that many countries around the world where you've been able to sort of freely travel for months around that country anyway. International travel is obviously still a problem, but in China we've been able to travel extensively throughout the country with some troubles along the way, but fairly freely for, I would say, the past 9 months now. It was really only sort of January, February, March, April that in 2020, 4 months, and in May it started to really sort of improve from there. And going around China right now is very, very simple. All you have to do is sort of use your health code to travel around. If you are going to some sort of big exhibitions, then you may need to supply a COVID certificate on arrival. So that's why me and Dad have had nearly 10 COVID tests each at this point. But that's what you got to do to have a country that is free of COVID. So it's not a big sort of problem to us to have to get a COVID test every now and again. Now let's have a little chat about mask wearing. So as you can see, I'm not wearing one. That's because now and for a long time it has not been compulsory to wear a mask outdoors. Only about, I would say, 40 to 50% of people wear a mask outdoors now in Shenzhen. In sort of third and fourth tier cities, it's less people that are wearing masks outdoors. My dad just went to Liuzhou and he said, almost nobody was wearing a mask over there. But then you can go to some cities and the percentage is much higher, which I guess is interesting, because it's more of, it's like a community influence. It's like a mob mentality. If everybody else is, then you feel like you should have to as well. So it's not compulsory to do so, other than when you're on public transport, and there are some shopping malls and things like that where they will tell you to wear a mask when you go inside, which is not a problem at all. People in inside spaces, especially on the metro, when the air is being circulated through the metro, you definitely want to be wearing a mask, especially on the metro. That is just common sense really, because that is one of the areas where it's like a petri dish for infections. So even if somebody hasn't got coronavirus and they've got like a cold, then you might catch it. So it's always good to be wearing a mask on the metro. I think people in China will be wearing a mask for years to come, some of them anyway, because they've got the memories of sort of SARS back in the day. And even since then, it's quite a normal thing in Asian culture for some people to wear a mask, especially if they are sick. You know, some people will wear masks on the metro for their entire life. That's just kind of Asian culture. As we know, in the Western world, wearing a mask is very strange for us, as I'm sure it's gotten a bit more normal since COVID, hopefully. But I remember sort of when it started spreading to Western countries, wearing a mask became political, which was a very strange political debate. But I won't go into that one, that's for a different video. It's very good to hear that at the moment all over the world vaccines are sort of being rolled out and more people are getting vaccinated. You know, in the UK they're doing very well with it. Both my sets of grandparents have had their first dose of their vaccine at least. My mum has also had hers, and even some of my friends that are a similar age to me have now had their vaccine. So I'm not sure what the percentage is in the UK, but it's getting there. And as for China, they are doing very well as well. It's about a 10% of the population who have currently been vaccinated. You know, China have an enormous population that nobody can sort of conceptualize the number. You know, 1.4 billion is no joke. So it's going to take a little while to get the people vaccinated. But talking about vaccine exportation and vaccine rollout in China, my dad did a very in-depth video about the so-called vaccine diplomacy from China. So check that video out here. I'll drop a link up there and in the description, so you can sort of get a broader view on that. But China are getting there, and they've currently vaccinated about 5 to 8 million people a day, which those numbers are just hard to get your head around, right? I've spoken to a lot of people, you know, my foreign friends and also some Chinese people who are actually not too concerned about the vaccine. Not in the sense of the safety of it, but more in the sense of they're not in a rush to get it because they feel safe enough in China, and it's going to be a long time potentially before international travel is still available to us. So it's almost like they're not really too fussed about it, because China are doing so well in keeping it contained that it's just not something that people are really thinking about too much. But I know as soon as the vaccine does become available for me to be able to get, I will certainly be doing that, because I think it would make a good video. And I don't know, vaccine safety is not something that's really concerns me. I don't like to worry about things so much that are out of my control. You know, I think anything that's going to be able to allow me to travel internationally as soon as possible, I'm going to be doing. So as soon as the Chinese vaccine becomes available to me, your boy's going to be copping it. Quick change of scenery now. We are in the second place that I was in on that past video where Shenzhen was a ghost town. Very nice area of Shenzhen. This is Coco Park. Lots of restaurants, lots of bars and things like that, but very, very dormant. We are in Coco Park Shopping Park metro station in the center of the city, Futian district. And this is probably the busiest shopping mall in the whole of the city. There are always people here. Right now is a Wednesday lunchtime, I believe. So probably one of the lesser busy times, but even so, there's still a lot of people around. Now, I really just wanted to sort of show you what it's like now. I could probably even walk into the shopping mall without a mask on, because a lot of the gates don't even have a security guard now. Obviously, I would put one on, but you know, it's not even 100% essential now. It's more just for peace of mind and you know, to be respectful to the people around you. The one unfortunate thing is that China's borders are still very strict. I mean, it's unfortunate for selfish reasons, but it's very sensible for the borders to be very strict, but it's not allowing me to be able to go back to England and return. So for foreseeable future I will be in China, and you know, I haven't seen my family for a long time. It's been about 1.5 years, and I've just had my first niece be born, and I would love to go and see her, but you know, I've got to count my blessings really, because we're very fortunate to be here and to be able to live our fruitful life while the sort of world is in a very terrible place. So there are some sacrifices that have to be made, and hopefully I'll be able to see my family soon in the future. Anyway, I just want to say thank you to you all for taking time out of your day to spend it with me here on YouTube. If you did like the video, smash the thumbs up button. If you're not subscribed to the channel, change that right now by hitting that subscribe button. It's absolutely free. If you want to go the extra mile, you can do so by clicking the links down in the description where you can support us. Thank you everybody, take care for now, bye bye.